Yes, we are. And today is the 26th of June, which is an exciting time of year in the calendar. You've probably seen the ads everywhere plastered over the television. Happy EOFY 26th of June, heading up to the end of the financial year. An exciting time in the life of accountants, isn't it, Kat?
Oh, you have no idea. Oh, my goodness.
I
didn't know that yesterday was a weekend, actually. I was wondering, when is the weekend?
Oh, my goodness. We've seen all the ads. And if you've got a small business, you're probably busy either organising a sale, trying to get rid of stock so you don't have to count it. You're trying to type your invoicing. What else are you doing if you're a small business, Kat, at this time of the year?
Well, definitely the invoicing has to get done by 30 June, because if it's not done by 30 June, then it can't be accounted for, and it's also hard to chase. You know, you've got to give it to people by then. If you're going to hold back, it has to be more strategic and making sure it benefits you rather than other people, you know, so keep the focus first. The other side is, if you've got things you want to buy, this is the time to really do it, really look into it, have a look at your books and see if you can afford it. Just wait before you get a loan or put it on the credit card, because at that point, maybe you can't afford it.
Okay, so we're approaching it. We've had a look at it, the small business side, invoicing, etc., getting rid of our stock, trying to get invoices out so we know how much we've made during the year. From the consumer's perspective, it's not just all about buying a new frock or a new washing machine. If you're a business, now might be the time to invest in some, say, computer equipment or office furniture or something like that for the office.
Absolutely. So computers, get your computers, and we've got that $20,000 deduction now. So if it costs less than $20,000, you can claim the full cost in your tax return. And if it's a computer that you need, don't get the ones that are just like $300. I have to put it out there. Get a good computer, because they do fall flat on their face, literally.
Absolutely. And you need to get it done by the end of the financial year so you can claim it.
Make sure the invoice is dated before 1 July.
Make sure you do get a receipt.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. A proper tax invoice.
Now, the other thing, we're talking about buying stuff and buying the big stuff, maybe something a little left field or left wall. You might even be considering about investing in some art.
Oh, yes.
Because that's also tax deductible, I believe. But there is certain criteria. If you're looking to buy art for your office, you've got some money left in your budget.
Yes, absolutely. So art has to be displayed in your business premises, and it has to be, you know, in the meeting room, the boardroom, reception, you know, even in your office, especially if you've got meetings there. And it should be very reasonable. Now, there's no point in buying art that's like $150,000 and it's a huge dent in your business. So that there's other little characteristics where the ATO checks those type of things, where they're going, what's the dominant purpose for buying it? Be careful if you have a home office and you say it is displayed in the office, because some home offices you're not allowed to have people over, so no one's really going to benefit from it unless you've told the council you see people. And some councils don't allow you to really have meetings at home unless you pay a license to do that, kind of like what personal trainers do. They have to pay that license to train people in the parks. So it's the same if you want to see clients at home and you're not allowed to, why are you buying artwork for your business premises?
Well, that's brought up another really great point about getting a license to see people in your own home. Very interesting. But art is also, it's definitely something that if you're interested in investing in art, now is a good time, because you can claim. You
can, absolutely. And I personally love art, actually. My qualifications are on the other wall. And I've got art on the other wall. The art is more visible on the other wall, and then the qualifications with the dreary, like, mahogany frames is on the other wall. I put them behind the door if I want to, but I have to display them.
Anyway, but if you want to invest in art that's tax deductible, you're able to do that, but there's a few criteria that you need to look
be sure that it's not so contrived, you know, like really check your intentions and get a tax invoice.
Absolutely. Now, also talking of intentions, at this time of the year, if you do have some money left in your tank, another great thing to do with it is donate.
Yes. So if there's things you are passionate about, you donate to those not-for-profits. Make sure you get a tax receipt, because those receipts will would tell you if you qualify for a deduction. So not every donation is deductible. If some people go to church, they would know that tithing is not deductible because a church tithing is not registered as that. In Australia, charities and not-for-profits have to register for what we call a DGR. The long name is Deductible Gift Recipient, and that application process is long. So once you have your DGR as a charity, you can then put on your tax invoices that donations over $2 or more are tax deductible. So if you see that, that's already endorsed. And be sure you get that because your accountant will check as well, especially if it's a sizable donations. Some churches have a building fund. The building fund applies for a DGR. So just be careful if you're in that arena that you are actually donating to the building fund and not to the actual church.
Oh, look at that. Oh, wow. Yeah, there's a whole can of worms. And I'm just going to open...
and get a tax receipt.
Yeah, get a tax...
That seems the lesson of the day.
That's the answer to everything. Get a tax receipt. Actually, while I'm talking about donations, I'm always interested how much you get back from the tax office. If you donate, I don't know, if you donate $10, how much of that do you get back as tax relief?
Well, that depends on your average tax rate, and that's where it gets complex. In Australia, it's not just a flat amount. We call it marginal tax rates. So, of course, there's the lowest tax rate that's there, and then the next one that most people are in is like the 32.5% rate. So if that's where you kind of sit, and no one shows you this unless your accountant does, because it's not even on your notice of assessment. And it's quite technical for me to explain over the radio how you do that, but it is an easy way to know. But generally, most people get 30%, is what the benefit is, because you're taxed at 30%, so you are negating that benefit by 30%. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. So if you're betting on getting it all back, you shouldn't. You should take into account how much you are going to get back.
And it's nothing that you're going to get back because it's just reducing your income. Yeah, so it's not actual cash back. And I hear that term a lot, get my money back. But what you're getting back is a refund. And it's similar to if you overpay, like Alinta or Synergy or something, you're in credit. And so you're entitled to get that back. And that the tax office works that way, where you've been paying tax through your employer, or the ATO uses other systems for businesses where they pay quarterly amounts. And then you lodge a return. And then your return is like, okay, this is what you really should have paid, X dollars. But during the year you paid this, and they compare the two. And those two, most of the time, most people pay more during the year, they prepay more, and then that's a refund. So it's a great question because there's other people who think by simply lodging a return, you're guaranteed to pay something, and that's not always the case, especially if no one has paid tax for you in the initial stages.
Let's not even talk about that.
No.
I don't even talk about that. Let's talk about donations and how good that makes us feel. Oh, my goodness. So just to clear it up, so for instance, say we were in that 30, let's just call it 30% tax bracket. If we donated, let's make it easy, $10, how much tax relief would we get back?
It would be 30%, which is
30%.
$3.
So we would, okay, great. So we should budget for getting the $3 back, not...
Yeah.
No, sorry.
The benefit is $3 against your tax, yeah.
Got it, I think. Okay.
It is so complex. Trust me, I was in that same boat as well, even learning it. I was like, what have I done?
Okay, it's not just me, but it's great to know. It's really interesting to know because we often talk about a tax deductible donation, but I was never really quite sure.
Yeah, people simply think by just paying it's deductible. So, the ones where they're on street corners and they're jiggling a coin, you need a tax invoice for donations that are $2 or more. So yeah, be careful, and you can ask for one as well. But today, now they ask for your email and all of that, and that's the best way to collect these invoices. As much as you don't want to give them your details, some people hesitate. Sending them your email is a good one, and some of them send you an annual statement as well. And that's a good question to ask if you're doing a month-by-month donation, which is awesome for you cash flow wise, but then come end of year, it's really hard unless you're in the habit of actually tagging the email.
Yeah, cute. we none of us are in that habit.
Or you just search it. in your Gmail.
Oh, and then you've got to remember that it's there. I know.
It's a lot, yeah. And swipe is always important because then it keeps a record of it actually happening. For example, some tax invoices are faded. I've had to put a few against a window just to see what it says. And the paper we use today just fades. That's just how it is. Or people keep them in their car dash holders. And yeah, that fades 100%. So swiping just reinforces that deduction again for you. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, it's non-degradable,
yeah,
non-paper. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about at this time of year of tax is all of those people out there who are landlords. What do landlords specifically need to do coming up to the end of financial year? And I just want to remind you all that Friday is the 30th of June.
Yes.
So if you're doing shopping, dial it in before Friday. Okay, we've given you a whole 5 days of notice to go out there and spend. So landlords, what do they need to do? Anything specific that they need to do?
Well, landlords, there's a better deduction out there for landlords. Like, you've probably done everything. You've repaired the shower, you've done the lights, you've repainted the house, all those things. And you have to be very careful. So there's two deductions you can have. The one is you can get what they call a depreciation report. And that's a report where people that are qualified enough to do it, so not necessarily just accountants, they create a massive report and it will show you the deduction you're entitled to for the cost of building the property. So if your property is quite young, less than 40 years old generally, then have a chat to the depreciation report guys.
That's so cute. Quite young, under 40 years. This is Australia, Cat. Everything's under 40 years.
Yeah, it is. Well, let's just say if it's like about 10 years old, I would get one. If you're moving out of your house because you bought a second one, definitely get a depreciation report because they even will value the oven. As long as they can't physically taken out of the wall, that is valued. And then they will say, well, you bought it for this much, this is how much it's worth today, so therefore you can claim this much for the rest of the year. So it's the building cost and the fixtures and fittings within the house.
Is this something that you have to do every year?
No, that report will have for the next whatever years left that you can claim reasonably.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's a great report. It does cost between $500 and $700. Really, and but it's worth the cost. That cost is deductible too, but the key is to order it now so that at least the report is available to claim for the 2017 financial year.
So when you say order it now, do you need to have the report in your hot little hand by the 30th of June, or
yes.
or does it just need to be dated by then or started?
By then, it just depends how they do the work and everything. So at least if they're assigned the job before 30 June, then you're guaranteed to get like a report before then. Some do go back to the beginning of the financial year. Just depends how much information they have. But we still need it in order for us to be able to use it.
Okay,
yeah.
So even if you're not going to get the finished report by the end of the week, if you order it, that's enough to keep you in the clear.
And double check with them too, because they know that they get this all the time.
And who do you go to for a depreciation report?
There's two in Perth that people use. So there's Dep Pro and there's Washington Brown.
And that's it. That's the only place you can get.
Those are the only two reports I have seen. I'm sure there's more out there, but these are the ones that have Perth contacts, Okay. So, and they will definitely look into Landgate records as well. So they've got the access that we don't, as opposed to you telling me, oh, I bought this, I did that. The other thing people do is they do these massive repairs, like renovating a kitchen, and expect to claim like the $25,000 cost of doing so. That's not always the case because we need full disclosure of what you spent on that. Some things can't be depreciated. They depreciate over a much longer period. And others, reasonably so, it sounds like a repair. But there's many definitions between a repair and an improvement. I'm going very legal here. Trust me, that ruling drives me crazy, and I've been reading a footnote over 10 years. But that's where, if you're going to do that, don't make assumptions about that level of spending.
This kind of sounds like we need to do a whole nother taking care of business on. Yeah, we should dial it.
Rental properties is a very big topic, actually.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, due to the budget, you can't claim travel expenses anymore.
Oh, goodness. Sorry. Happy EOFY indeed. Yeah, you're going to have a busy
I
week.
had to put that in there. Bearer of good news here. Yep.
You're going to have a busy week. You're going to be buying things, invoicing things. Oh, my goodness. It's going to be great. Making the most as a consumer and as a business person. Happy EOFY.
Yeah, same to you. Get a tax invoice.
Thanks so much, Kat.
No worries.